All right, pineapple heads, we are back. We took a very brief intermission, but we're back. And I think Randy brought up some really great talking points. I think that I also shared some really great talking points. So I want to know, you guys, in the comment section, what are some things that you were able to pull talking about the shift that's happened in dating now for millennials? What are some things that you were able to pick up from that? Let us know in the comments, or hit us up on the DM and let us know what you got from that section. If you thought it was helpful, if you thought the conversation was helpful, definitely let us know. But now we are going to get started into the 21 questions. This is probably my favorite. If you ever watched the Salon Talk, the interview portion of Salon Talk is where I'm flowing. I love to ask questions. I am naturally a very inquisitive person. So this is probably my favorite. Randy just also shared off record that he gets paid to be in people's business. So I'm hoping he'll enjoy this section as well. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a first date. So I prepared some questions that some unconventional questions that I think I would ask on a first date. And then Randy has also prepared some questions as well. So this should be fun. I think I'm ready. Are you ready?
Let's get it.
Okay. All right. My first question is, how do you feel about morning breath?
Keep it away from me. Yeah, give me a head nod up until the point you go and brush your teeth.
Wow. Okay.
Speak from over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of a hot come moment, but I'm not gonna reach for it. I'm gonna let you make it with that because everybody has their personal preference.
Okay, you can speak with your back to me.
Okay. Or you can do when you're not really sure, so you just kind of speak with your hand in front of your mouth.
Be considerate. Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah. Okay. Consideration. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. All right. Your turn.
I'm gonna start light. What's your favorite color?
You want to guess? Oh, no, I'm kidding. My favorite color is pink. I love all shades of pink. All shades of pink. I think pink is the best color.
Okay. It gets a little. I got something for you later. I just want to give you one easy one.
Okay, I appreciate that. My next question would be: are you a sugar in your grits or salt and pepper in your grits kind of person?
Sugar and butter, please.
Oh, thank God. Okay. See, we can be cool. If you would have said anything else, you would have just seen a blank screen. It would have been you on here by yourself. Just I can do cheesy grits. I can do cheese grits, if I'm doing a shrimp and grits or something like that. But other than that, sugar me, please. It's your go.
Whose plate do you make first within the confines of marriage or seriously dating? Your dad's or your spouse's?
Ooh. I think I would marriage. Okay, I would make my husband's plate first. Only because I love my dad, but I just got to give a nod to the man of the house. I just have to. That's just how it has to work. Was that kind of a trick question? Is that a trick question?
It may not be a big deal. It may not be a big deal to whoever you're dating, or they could feel extremely disrespected by it. So that's a conversation for y'all to have within the confines of your relationship.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What does being appreciated look like for you?
I'm gonna lean into my mic a little bit.
Okay. Let me put my glasses on so I can hear. Hold on.
Put mine on too.
Let me move my hair so I can hear.
Say thank you.
Okay. That's kindergarten, elementary level, but
yeah, okay. But everybody ain't got it. Everybody don't have it. No, so for gratitude for me is compliment more than you critique.
Okay.
So yeah, compliment more than you critique. If you're in your bag in your relationship, everybody's doing the best they can. Okay. So in a healthy situation, everybody's doing the best they can with their work schedules and kids or whatever it is. All that complaining, and that, especially if you're one that's not really carrying a lot of the load, say thank you. Okay, you marry somebody at a different church that goes to a different church than you do. You love your church, you love your pastor, you love where you serve. What do? but he loves his church too. Y'all had a conversation. He says, I really feel that we're supposed to be at my church. What do you do?
Ooh, that's a really great question. Let me put my glasses on so I can think better. Okay.
Yeah, we do.
I feel like I'm smarter with my glasses on.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, you said after we've had conversation?
Correct.
Okay. I think initially my thing would be I would love to, to have that conversation. So I'm glad that you mentioned that part. But ultimately, if this is a man that I believe that God has chosen for me and that, I've decided myself and my own free will to marry, I believe that it's important to definitely submit to his mission and also allow for him to lead in that direction. So if he says that he believes that God is saying we should be here at this house, at this place of worship, then I'm going to go with it. So
Absolutely.
That's my answer.
Okay. Good
Praise
answer.
God.
Good answer.
The Lord is kind. Isn't he kind?
Yeah.
Let me put my glasses on. Let me react.
Yeah. Make it plain.
My question 4 would be, name 3 ways you like to see your love languages expressed.
That's good. That's deep. Dang. You put me on the spot in front of the pineapple heads and everybody, huh? Just I mean, my love language is words of affirmation.
Okay.
Quality time.
Okay.
And this one, because I retook the test recently, and I didn't know that this one, but number 3 is gifts. Buy me something. Yeah. Buy me something. But I struggled with receiving for like years. It ain't got to be nothing expensive, but just when you was out, grab me something. I'll get you something.
I picked you up a pack of Now Laters or something. Just something chill.
All red Starburst, please. Thank you.
Is that a thing?
It is. And they have all pink too. Amazing.
I know they have all pink. The all red is new. That's
all red
new.
came out first. The fave reds. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me something.
The big bag. Yeah, the big bag. I don't want the little sleeve. The big bag. A Halloween bag.
Big bag. Okay.
I really want. I'll feel away if you spend too much. So just something light. Give me something light. Something light.
Okay. So, all right. I think it's your turn.
It is. So I believe that every Christian, I believe that every mature believer has like a point in life when they like, okay, I'm gonna get real with Christ. And there's like this meeting between like where you straddle the fence and then you go all in. There's like a moment, like you can remember essentially the time period that you in, kind of where you were. I think every believer has that moment where God, did you have that moment? If so, are you willing to share kind of what that was like?
Yes, I did have that moment. 6 years ago, I was dating this guy, and I was sort of already on a track to really getting to know who God was, but I was still like trying to have my cake and eat it too. Like I was trying to live both life. I wasn't really being serious. Without going into too much detail, a situation happened where like the ultimate disrespect transpired between me and this guy, and it was enough to like really like rock me to my like absolute core. It like the situation that transpired it created such a hole and such a deficit that like I knew I was at the rock bottom and that I had nowhere to go but to God. And so that defining moment for me was essentially a conversation between me and God in like my despair and desperation, and me telling God that like I don't want to keep living like this, like I don't want to keep doing this, and then God responding to me just as clear as day saying like I don't want you to live like this either, and me expressing back to God, well, like God, I want to do this but I don't know how, and in a sense like God just telling me, you just say yes and I'll do the rest, essentially is what God said to me. And so that was the defining moment. And then actually crazy story. The next Sunday after that situation transpired and I was able to at least pick my pieces up somewhat, I went to a church, and the pastor preached an amazing message, and it literally was like he was sitting right next to me, like that he was talking directly to me. And so I joined church that day. I joined the very same day, my very first time coming, and I've been walking with God ever since then. So that was my defining moment almost 6 years ago, and I've just been rocking with the Lord ever since. So that is my story. That was a really good question. I was not expecting that. Okay, last question. Are you ready for this?
Absolutely.
Okay. If you were seriously dating someone, like, you're in consideration of marrying them, and you introduce them to your family, and your family does not like them, what do you do?
Is it and I would have to, if it's a personality thing, they kind of just gonna have to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's somebody in my family that is seeing something in the spirit that God has not revealed to me, we'll have a conversation. But other than that, once I marry you, it's wife first. Yeah,
that's fair.
I would prefer everybody gets along. It don't always work out that way though.
What if it was your mom?
She'll be okay.
Woo, Mrs. Mays, I'm sorry.
She'll be okay. Yeah, she'll be okay.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. So if you were seriously dating that person, you would just be like, they have to get over it because I'm marrying her anyway.
Yeah. Well, we'll have different conversations behind closed doors, but I'm riding with wife in public. I'm getting the car and be like, now you know you was wrong.
Okay. That's mature. You pull it to the side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. That's actually a great answer. Cool. All right. So that wraps up our simulate a first date section.
Nope.
No, it doesn't?
Nope, it's my turn.
You have one more?
You went first.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
My bad.
So, I believe that understanding and knowing your purpose prior to dating someone seriously is like very important.
Okay.
The last thing you want to do is get into a marriage, right? Mm-hmm. And then you figure out or you're trying to find your purpose, and you find out what your purpose is, and find out that the person that you believe God sent you doesn't complement your purpose, right? I think that your purpose is going to be complemented by whoever it is that you're called to, right?
Yes.
Do you understand what God has called you to, and do you know what your life's purpose is?
Let me tell you something. I'm glad that I secured my wig before I got on this broadcast, because that is a blow your wig back kind of question.
Yeah.
That is a great question.
Yeah. I'm waiting on a great answer too. Yeah.
Okay. Let me put my glasses on. Just give me a second, okay? Now, can you ask the last part of that question one more time? I want to be sure.
Do you understand and do you know your purpose and what God has kind of called you to?
Okay, so that's a really great question. I would first say that I 100% agree that it is very imperative, almost like detrimental to your dating process, to know who you are as a person and what God has called you to before you link up with somebody. Because I think that's one of the main indicators of whether or not you should be with that person anyway. That's just what I think. Because marriage goes beyond, or dating and marriage just goes beyond just like attraction. Like it goes beyond just that. Because there may be times where you're not attracted. But if your purpose is aligned, then you'll still be committed to walking with each other. Hopefully, because you'll be committed to walking with the Lord. That's the first thing. Second thing is, yes, I do know what my purpose is. I believe that it's still unfolding, but I believe that God has really shown me just even what I'm doing with just my business, with the wig designing, and where He's taking that, where He's taking me just in my career path in the beauty industry, and how He's wanted for me to expand in that. And then even on the social influence part, and just being like an influencer in the beauty industry, and all of that kind of being under the umbrella of like ministry, marketplace ministry. So I believe that, yes, I have a pretty good understanding of my calling, and I think that, it's still unfolding, but I think I have a pretty good idea of what's going on and what God wants me to do.
Absolutely.
Love it. Whew, you blew my wig back with that one. Okay, so so that was a really great question.
That was it.
All right. That's all you got? Okay. That was a great finale, you guys. I am giving Randy a hand clap. I kind of got on a little bit earlier because he wanted to freestyle his questions. And I was like, no, I'm gonna need you to write them down. I'm not gonna say whether or not I had all of mine written down. I did, but that's a different conversation. But he wrote his questions down, and those are some really great questions, you guys. Would you agree or disagree with that? I would totally 100% agree. Really great questions. So yeah, that concludes the simulate a first date. That would be a heck of a date. I think that would be a heck of a first date.
We'll eat good. No worries.
Okay. Okay. I feel like, yeah, you're gonna be bringing the heaviness, at least feed me. But I feel like I wouldn't even be able to eat with all those questions. We just have the appetizer and then take my food to go. So that actually is a great segue into our next subject, which is the hardships of millennial dating and relationships. I feel like there is I think we talked a little bit about this earlier. In the Christian millennial culture, there is such a urgency on like finding the one. And sometimes I feel like navigating the dating scene as a Christian millennial, you're looking at everybody as in like, are they the one? I think I would love to just hear a little bit more about what you think about that. It's important to get to know somebody. I think that that's like a humongous thing. I think you should always have you should always go into something with having a vision for where you would like to see the relationship go, whether that's going to be like a friendship or like a business partnership. Like, I think having boundaries is important, especially when entering into relationships, and also having like clarity as to why this connection is even a thing. I think that's important. Also leading with clarity too. Like, what is it that this person is in my life for? I think that's a huge thing. But like not going into it with so much pressure, like just get to know somebody and just see, I think it's important to just chill. That's just my thing. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree 100%. Man, somebody, and I'll keep reiterating this, somebody who's haven't been married and saw how their life was, and then now being single, slow down. Appreciate the season. There won't come another time period where you can solely focus on that. You're going to have to learn how to juggle. Just embrace the season. Get that thing built up. Get your business built up. Write the book. Take the trip. Do it now. Mr. Right ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere, and you can't pop him up. And secondly, after date 2 or 3 or whatever it is, and the long phone calls and all the stuff like that, I don't see the point in just necessarily trying to clarify things and what are we, and are you talking to anybody else, or establish that in day one, whether y'all going to talk to other people. But just slow down. It's going to be all right. If you the one, he going to pick you. Yeah, it's going to be all right. Yeah, just, I say, slow down. The church has done a job and made it seem like marriage is the ultimate whatever. And marriage is cool. I love being married, but just slow down. Take your time. Because it's going to cost you more on the back end. I promise.
I do agree with that. Especially just like you said, being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. It's like the prime time for building and the prime time for like discovering your purpose, and the prime time for like really being able to focus on you is like in your singleness season. Like, this is the time to lay low and build. And I think if God has led, or if you're in a season where you're going on dates and you're wanting to be in pursuit of a relationship, I think it is important to be open and, like you said, have those conversations. On the flip side, I do have a little caveat to that though. On the flip side of that, I think it is important to like chill and slow down, but I think it's also important to pick up where somebody is as far as like discerning what like level they're trying to go to, because
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like if you're going on dates with someone, like if you're going on multiple dates and it's like, oh, we're just hanging out, but if that person is in a place ready to cultivate a relationship, and then on the guy's perspective or on the girl's perspective, whoever's is like, oh well, it's not anything serious, like we're just going out on a date, but it's like, that's still a person's life that you're kind of still
Right.
like
I'm
intermingling with. So I just think I agree with that. I do agree with that 100%. But there's also a flip side to that. It's just like, I think being clear about where you are is really great. Like, I think it's good to just clear up everything.
Yeah, it all depends. For me, if I was taking somebody out, I don't care if they're going to have somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it gets to the point where somebody's looking more googly eyed than the other person, then it may be worth the conversation. But you'll have in dating somebody and talking to somebody, you'll kind of catch what direction that they're going, whether they want to be married, whether they don't want to be married. If first phone conversation and okay, you were married before, blah blah, and I'm like, I'm never getting married again. Then I just kind of told you what it was. I don't want no more kids, and you like, dang, I at least wanted one with who I was with. Then I'm not the guy. So it's just you'll know in natural conversation, but if you want to clarify it, just clarify it with the right attitude, though. I mean, I need to know what we're doing, because if you're gonna do you, I'm gonna do me. If you're doing all that, it's like, okay.
But you feel like that kind of tone just kind of can
the tone and the delivery is just like, yeah, because if you're gonna do you, then make sure. Well, what is it that you're asking? What is it that you're wanting? Like, are you saying that you want us to be exclusive? Okay, let's have that conversation. Are you saying you're dating for marriage? Okay, well, let's have that conversation. So, I say if you're uncomfortable with it, have a conversation. Just watch your tone, because you'll run somebody off and all that.
You don't want to ruin anybody's day with your tone, with your whack tone. No, I agree. I definitely agree. In millennial dating, I think sometimes I was actually watching the show Married at First Sight when I had Corona. Like, when I was down with COVID, I was watching Married at First Sight, and I was binge watching it. And I just love social experiments. I love to just look at like the psychology and the sociology of people, how they interact, all of that. I'm such a nerd for that. And so I'm like taking everything into the show, like people's mannerisms, how they think about things, if they communicated that at first, and if it's different once they get into the marriage, like all of that. So there was one guy on there, he was just talking about how his parents have been married for 30 years and this and that, and how he really wanted, a strong, long-lasting marriage. But when it came down to him being married, he wasn't really exhibiting those same characteristics that it would take to have a long-lasting marriage. And so I think, I don't think he really took into account who his parents were in the generation they were in when they were dating, as opposed to now with like this millennial dating. I think it's a little different. So I wanted to just kind of dive into a little bit like the pros and cons of like how our parents generation would date, and then how like millennial dating is now, just kind of like comparing the two.
The dating
/ marriage, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll go to marriage. I don't know if it's because of the way the church was then, the divorce was like a no-no, like a huge no-no, no matter what. It seems like our generation gets a divorce because somebody didn't close the cabinets and they couldn't stand it, right? Back in the day, it was like they almost like divorce is not an option, and they were still sticking in through whatever. You know what I mean? It seems like it was more of that. Now, mess around like another woman's picture, and you married now. It's over. They had an affair over here because you wanted to. It is different now.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that they had more perseverance. Not saying that you stay for anything or you should deal with anything. I don't agree with that. I don't think you should just deal with anything within marriage. There's guidelines for divorce and all that, but I think they were a little more tough than us.
Okay.
I think they endured. I think they were willing to endure a little more than what we're willing to now.
I feel like that's a fair point. What I will say though is that I feel like, and you may agree or disagree, but I think that social media is like a huge part of millennial dating. It can also like open the door to a lot of other things that our parents didn't really have to deal with. You get what I'm saying? And it's so easy and accessible to have, different interactions and different conversations. And it's so easy to build connections with other people. And depending on, the situation, that could, just potentially lead to other stuff. So I feel like that's one thing that we have that's kind of a negative in millennial dating that our parents didn't have, because they didn't have social media. So it was a little bit different. I think easier to, slide in somebody's DM now and you're married and, like you may not think anything of it because you're like, oh, well, but your spouse, could see it and they're not privy to it beforehand, privy to a conversation being had beforehand, and now they're offended. So, so I feel like their perseverance was a little bit different though. And I also feel like even if you aren't in the public eye on social media, you are in the public eye. And there was a video clip that I saw of Jay-Z, and he was just talking about him and Beyonce's relationship, and he was just like, you wouldn't want like 80 million people in your business, so you wouldn't want to put all your relationship out there. And this was when they first started dating, so this is before social media got really big. But it's like now, because social media, especially if you are like a entrepreneur or in any kind of social field, you're posting a lot on your life on social media. So dating kind of comes apart with that too. Like, should I post them? Should I not? Or if I do post them, how often should I even tag them, or should I just post a picture? Like, there's other things that kind of go into that. And so
not posting.
I feel like you said what?
Not posting.
Not posting?
Well, you can post the wedding pictures.
Okay, I have an opinion on that. You saying just post the wedding pictures?
Yeah, I post it. Yeah, so I'm not gonna post. Yeah, I'm not gonna post a girlfriend.
Okay.
Maybe the engagement pictures. Maybe.
I would love to know your philosophy behind this. I just would love to know. I would love to know.
I don't. So how many times you have somebody on your Facebook or your Instagram that has a new king every 4 months? That's just treating her better than anybody else has before.
Yes, this is true.
And then you have the lover boy, right? Who's in love and doing a date night with bae. Or is that the same? When you try to go back, and look, and the pictures of the old bae is deleted. You're making a fool of yourself. Yeah, you're making a fool of yourself. You're making a fool of yourself. Get people out your business like that. So if it was a deal where somebody wanted to be posted, I'm like, if you want me to change my Facebook status to end a relationship, that's fine. I'll change that. I can let it be known. Cool, but I'm not finna post. I'm not gonna post. I'll post engagement pictures.
I mean, okay. To be fair, I do agree with that. I do feel like it's legit once you change the Facebook status, it is legit. Like, I feel like at that point, that's like a mini marriage certificate. Like, it's serious at that point. But
yeah, that's the first thing. If they post me, I don't care, whatever. But I don't. Okay. I'm not posting.
And then I think it has to also go with the aesthetic of your page as well. And so your page is mostly encouraging content, and I don't know how encouraging that would be for your page aesthetic. Well, this is a big win. Instagram versus reality. People appearing one way online, but then they're a whole different person offline. Oh God, is that a hardship? Yes or no?
I'll say this. I can see that being a problem. I can see it being a problem.
I think it would be hard if the conversation had kind of started on Instagram. You're into all their stuff, but once you meet them, they're not the type of person. And then people be like personality catfishing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're not really like that. You're not really like that. So I think it is a hardship that millennials have to go through, because people be really catfishing, like, legit. And then, we had talked about the hatfish. Like, hatfish is a thing. Like, dude taking bomb selfies, but he always got on the fitted. And then it's like, we go somewhere that doesn't require a hat, and then he's giving a high salute with the edge of it. It's like, ugh, you hatfished me. That's not nice.
I start making them dudes cut them beards off too before y'all get married too. Beards be saving dudes' lives, man. Dudes, yeah, beards be saving dudes' lives. No cap.
That's true. Also, this is a conversation I'm open and willing to have, but I would like to go like swimming, or I would like to go somewhere where we're able to like be in public and kind of sweat a little bit, because men be having beard weaves now. And so I would need to know if your beard is, a prosthetic beard, if, you got some enhancements, the Beijing is running all down. I need to know these things. This is important to know. So,
I hate you so bad.
I'm just saying, people be Beijing in their beards, and I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping. I know, I'm not going to incriminate you, but you may or may not be a person that, uses hair enhancements. I'm not saying you do or don't.
Hater. Oh, you're a hater. Oh man, wow.
It's not a big deal. I'm in the beauty industry. I get it. I 100% get it. But I need to know what your natural edges look like. What does your natural beard look like without the enhancements? I just would like to know. That's it.
Got it.
I'll take, depending on how serious we get, I'll take my wig off and I'll show you my braids. I'm not tripping. As long as you being nice, not calling me names, I'll take my wig off. I'm not tripping. But, I think, Instagram versus reality, we need to see what you look like without the Beijing and without the beard. That was a great point. Great point, Randy. Okay, so the last part in hardships of millennial dating and relationships that I would like to talk about is suitability versus compatibility. Like, from a millennial male perspective, how important are those two things for you?
Suitability versus compatibility.
So, suitability being like, or compatibility rather being like you may enjoy the same type of food, or you may have the same type of movies. You may like the same type of movies and stuff like that. That would be more so compatibility. Suitability would be more so like kind of like the point that you made earlier about like purposes, like do your destinies align, like do your careers at all like complement each other, like that kind of thing, like compatibility versus so compatibility would be more kind of, I would say, materialistic, and then I feel like the suitability would be more internal kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go with suitability.
Suitability, okay. Why not compatibility?
I can be compatible with one of my homeboys. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we like the same stuff. I'm not gonna date them though. So
with that point, why is suitability important?
So I mean, if we're talking about purposes and stuff aligned like that, that's what our life. We don't have many jobs that God has called us to do. So if suitability is going to elevate me to grow closer in Christ and fulfill my purpose, then that's going to be what's more important. Yeah,
I agree with that. And I feel like suitability is more of like playing the long game. I feel like compatibility is like people's personalities change, like I'm not the same person that I was a year ago, let alone 5 years ago. I can't imagine, yoking my life up with somebody and then how much our lives would change. And so, I think that the suitability, because I feel like that's like your core values. And so, I feel like that would kind of sustain you more than compatibility, because I can decide today that I like The Office and Martin, and then that was like our favorite show in connection wise, like me and my husband. But then like I may decide I don't like Martin anymore. I don't see that happening. I'm just saying that could just happen. But then now we don't have anything, and I feel like that's kind of why people be getting divorced after a while, like after being married like 30, like 20 and 30 years, because it's like they're just sometimes they aren't compatible anymore. But I feel like suitability will sustain you even when you're not like compatible. That's just what I think.
Okay.
Yes. So this is the last hardship that I would like to discuss in millennial dating and relationships, and then we'll move on to the next section. But how do you feel as a Christian millennial navigating, keeping healthy boundaries when it comes to like the culture that we're in? Is that a hardship for you? If so, like how are you navigating that?
Yeah. So for me in that space, I know myself, and each individual within the confines of whatever the situation, you got to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm going to have to be with somebody that has a lot more discipline than I in that space.
Okay.
Fully aware. So you just got to kind of know yourself and just be honest. We give ourselves too much credit. Way too much credit. I say just be honest and know yourself. You know what does it for you, know who does it for you, in what environment. That's that wrong call and you're in the wrong situation at the wrong time. So you got to just have some. And if you know that that's your weakness, then that's something that has to be expressed. And you say, I'm going to need you to be strong when I'm weak, and then vice versa.
Okay.
You both can be weak. you're asking for failure.
That's true.
So,
That's
yeah,
true.
it's just a matter of conversation and you knowing you. And if it hits that point where y'all just can't stop, you just gotta, like you gotta see is that who you're supposed to be with.
That's a really great point. And I share in similarities with that. I think that conversation is very important. So as a young Christian woman, my viewpoint is, like my desire is to please the Lord, and like it's to please God in my dating, in my relationships, in my business, all of that. So that's like my standard for everything. That's the benchmark, if you will, of everything that I do. And so in the category of dating, I feel like there are more obstacles. One of the hardships is being kind of pulled to different things and without, having discipline. Of course, be able to assess yourself, but be able to assess where the other person is and really like knowing your capacity. And I think it's important to like know that if I'm going to walk my life as a Christian and dating is going to be one of the things that, I'm going to give to the Lord, I don't want my brother or sister to stumble, even if I am dating them. Like they're still my brother and my sister. And so coming from that place, and, I think giving grace, but also like going back to allowing for God to be the center in that. That would be my standpoint on that. Yeah, the point that you brought up is really great, and like knowing yourself. Like I think that's like the ultimate thing. You gotta know where you are and be honest about where you are, and then also communicate that to whoever you may be dating, because they have to, like you said, if that's an area where you're weak, they may have to be a little stronger in that area. So that's definitely good. Something we want to communicate. All right. So we are kind of turning the corner here just a little bit. We talked about how millennial dating is the ghetto, right? And we talked about just some different hardships that, as Christian millennials that we're navigating through. And even as business owners and entrepreneurs and people that are self-employed, just even how being in a part of a social space, how we encounter difficulties with that as well when it comes to dating. Now that we've gotten all the hardships and all the hard questions, and now, we've got all that stuff out of the way, I would really love to come to a place of being able to land in helping people to overcome.